Cool. So settle yourselves into a comfortable position. Oh, and if anyone wants to play any music as well of your own choice as we go through, then you're welcome to do that too. And in whichever position you choose to begin in, allow your eyes to close or your eye gaze to soften. And allow your breathing to enter and leave through the nose. And out through the nose. Spending these first few moments to bring yourself into a place of calm. And if it doesn't quite feel like calm is a place that you are ready to be at yet, then that is absolutely fine. We just use this time to find center, to find grounding. Feeling your inhalation, drawing down into the belly, and then expanding your body from there. The ribs start to fill out, the chest starts to lift, and then the softness travels around the outer edge of the body as the muscles begin to relax. Visualizing a warm red glow. It starts in the depth of your belly and then starts to spread, just like your exhalation spreads. And just like your inhalation spreads. That warm red glow starts to turn into the green. You don't go through the middle bit where it's a bit brown. We're going straight into like a nice calming green colour. And it spreads all around your chest, your rib cage. And then starts to feed off down your limbs, down your arms, down your legs. And even up into your head. Now that green colour represents your heart chakra. So as we breathe in, we want to feel the heart space spreading, and as we breathe out, we want to send that loving energy all over the body. And the heart chakra is about being loving and kind to yourself, just as much as it is about being loving and kind to other people and things, or other living creatures, beings. And it's often thought the kinder that we become to ourselves, the better our lives become. The better our relationship between ourselves and other people becomes. And that just helps to add value and enrichment into life. But it always comes from yourself to begin with. So just taking one more really deep breath into the belly, feeling ribcage expanding, chest expands, and then breathing out, feeling it all melting back down. And then slowly bringing movement back into the body. And then turning over onto your hands and knees to begin with. Our first posture for today is mounting heart. Reaching the hands further forwards, keeping the hips over the knees. We're going to bring the forehead down towards the floor. And there are a lot of different variations that you can do for this. If you find that there's too much pressure on the knees, you can place cushion underneath the knees. In fact, elevating your hips a little bit more gives you a little bit more of a decline position, so we can often get a little bit more space and lengthen the chest. If it's uncomfortable on your forehead, you are welcome to place a cushion underneath where your forehead goes to soften the load, or even a block. If you want to go a little bit deeper into it, you can place 2 blocks where your hands would be. And then rest your forehead gently on the floor. So make this work for you. You are going to be here for a few moments. Doesn't matter what your position looks like. Just go on how it feels. And here we're continuing to breathe widthways into the ribcage, allowing ourselves to find as much space through that section of the torso, but it also enables us to breathe a little easier and a little freer. And depending on the positioning of the rest of your body, you may notice things in different places, and also depending on your body. You may notice a deeper stretch underneath the armpits, into your lats, into the backs of your shoulders. If you feel any irritation through the lower back, then just find a lighter engagement or a light engagement in your belly to help support your back. And then just check that your hips are level and even. If you find that it's too intense, then you're welcome to bring your hips down to your heels for child's pose. We're going to spend another few moments, a few minutes here. And this can often be the beginnings of quite an intense sensation. So continuing to follow your breath. I'm happy to remain calm and focused. Breathing in, expanding the ribcage. Breathing out, feeling the ribcage close. And the muscles attaching to your upper body, softening. Taking 5 more breaths here. Feeling your heart melting, just as the name of the pose describes. And as you come out of the pose, gently push yourself back into child's pose. Coming up onto your hands and knees, having a little shake of your hips side to side, if the body calls for it. We'll find in a couple of rounds. Both cat, up, cat, down, cat. Rolling around through the cat. If you've got a cushion under your knees, you can leave it there on one leg as we step one leg outside of the shoulder. Doesn't matter which side do you do first. A winged dragon. And taking a twist in towards this leg. Now what you do to make yourself comfortable is entirely up to you. You can come down onto your forearm, supporting yourself on an appropriate height, or all the way down to the ground. You can stay on your hands. You can keep hugging your leg in, so we get the rotation through the thoracic spine rather than through moving the hips with us. If you want to add in a quad stretch, then you're welcome to. And here, if you've got a belt and you can't quite reach your foot, then you can use that to wrap around your foot and hold instead. Here, as you hold this, think about the shoulder that's on the top, the one closest to the ceiling. Roll this shoulder back and down. And then once you've used that activation in your muscles to move it and hold it, then relax in that position. So we maintain as much of the muscle support is going to help us rotate, because that way we're going to get the deeper stretch right through the thoracic, as well as through the hips, and maybe through the front of the thigh. Maybe even be nice to close our eyes during this, but that's completely optional. And although it can be a challenge to hold this pose, just allow yourself to find a place of comfort. Accept the challenge. But also be kind to yourself in the process. We should never stay in a pose through pain. If you experience pain, adjust your place. I'm going to take 5 more breaths here. And then when you're ready to come out of the pose, if you've got hold of the foot, let go. And slowly shift the hips back and change to the other side, but there's no rush. Stepping the foot outside of the hand, outside of the shoulder, taking the rotation in towards the leg, taking your time to set yourself up to be in a place where you can be. Adding the stretch through the front of the thigh, we're bending the back knee if you wish. Remember, the place that we can stay in is not always the most intense place to begin with. You need to build into it. You need to relax into it, to adapt into it. Remind yourself to give yourself what you need. Whether that's a little bit more or a little bit less. Sometimes only you can know what you need right now. Taking 5 more breaths here. Allowing yourself to melt into the most intense place now. At the end of your 5 breaths, let the foot go first. Untwist, shift the hips back, remove the foot. Again, do any kind of movements that your body needs. If you've got anything underneath you, remove it out the way. Anything in front of you, move it out of your way. And then lower yourself down onto your front, taking your elbows just in front of your shoulders, allowing the legs to roll outwards naturally, Sphinx pose. Focusing on the tiny, gentle back bend here. The shoulder blades draw back and down. Let it feel like you're trying to pull your chest, the center of your chest forwards between your arms. And then observe your hips. Can you slide your tailbone down towards your heels a little bit more, so the hip bones don't press too predominantly into the floor. Make any movements you need now, so it feels comfortable. A little compression in the lower back is okay. If there's any pain, then back off. Focusing now on breathing widthways into the chest again. Feeling softness from the front of your thighs down towards the feet. Even allowing your butt cheeks to feel like they're rolling outwards, to let go. No need to clench. And as you breathe in, feel that your heart space is edging further and further forwards. You can always say a little mantra to yourself whilst you're here. Something along the lines of, I accept the love that surrounds me. And that love is not necessarily from a significant other. It's anyone that surrounds you. It's all of those small acts of kindness that people give to you. It's the little things that we don't always appreciate, that actually mean a lot. If you need a little bit more intensity into your back bend, make your way into seal from here by lifting the elbows up away from the floor, although keeping a slight bend to your arms. I'm going to take 5 more breaths. And after your 5th breath, slowly lower yourself back down to the floor. Bring your arms down by your sides, rest the forehead down, or turn to face one side. Just allow yourself to be in a really neutral position. We can allow the spine to return to its original form.
and observe the sensations that are created. Gently bring your hands by the side of your chest and then sit yourself up.
You're going to need potentially a belt or an item here. But first of all, let's position the legs. So choices for the legs will be here with, let's say, the left leg out in front and the right knee is going to cross over the opposite leg. So here the foot can be on the floor, or you can tuck the foot back up to the back of your hip. If you want a little bit extra here, you can come into full shoelace, tucking the left foot to the heel of the other side. So you pick where you want to be. It doesn't matter where you are. Just make sure both of your hips are evenly placed on the floor. And here, feet slide out to the side as if you're pulling your shoelaces if you've got both their legs. That can help, that image can help to keep your hips like level and square on the floor. If you've got one leg out in front, if it feels too tight on your hamstring, place a cushion or a block underneath the knee of the leg that's reaching out, and that can make it feel a little bit more comfortable. So here, you may already feel the stretch in the outer part of the hip. What we're going to do is add in the arms. So reaching right hand down the centre of the back, taking the left hand up. So a little internal rotation here of the left arm. If you'd rather just do one, do the left arm here, and then you can always use the right arm just to support it and maybe guide the hand up the back more. Quite neat. Place the belt in the bottom hand. Take the top hand over the top, bring the elbow in and walk your hands down the belt. And again, choose here. You may just want to stay upright. You may want to add a hinge forwards. So we're still keeping the back straight, but we're just adding a little lean forwards to deepen the sensation through the hips. And then breathing in, feeling the space from elbow to elbow lengthen. The left elbow is going to pull down and the right elbow is going to lift up. You can almost spiral the arms on both sides into the body a little bit more. And just remember, sometimes the poses that do feel maybe a little bit harder or a little bit more awkward than the others are generally the ones that our body needs. But never push yourself into a place that your body's not quite ready for. There's always a way to make it feel better. If you notice any tingling sensations through the arms, through the chest, then adjust your arm positioning into a place which allows you to not create those sensations, because they're not always good ones for your body. It's going to take 5 more breaths here before we change direction. So if you want to find more intensity, maybe walk your hands up the belt, or maybe walk your hands, if they're linked, maybe you want to find your wrists instead. Maybe you want to fold a little bit further forwards. After your 5th breath, gently ease off. Take your time to come out. Uncross the top leg. And again, find your place. So again, the options, right leg will be stretched out this time, and the left foot can either sit in front, the foot next to the level with the knee. You can tuck the knee. Start again. You can tuck the foot up to the outer part of the hip, so the knees roughly stack over one another. If you want a little bit extra, take the bottom leg towards the outer edge of your left hip. And then if you just position your hands on your ankles for a moment, so you get that pulling out feeling. Both butt cheeks on the ground. If one is starting to lift off, you can always place a cushion underneath it to help you stay anchored and grounded to the lower body. You can always just sit on a block as well, if that helps. When you're there, this time the right arm, roll the shoulder in, slide the elbow back, and the hand goes up the center of the back. Left hand then reaches down the back. If you want to use the belt, take hold of it in your right hand. And as you bring your left hand over the top, slowly walk your hand down. Then most of us will notice that one side is significantly different to the other. It's very rare that anyone's perfectly symmetrical. And especially when you are fold on one side and the other, that can definitely contribute to asymmetry, as well as by other means. But here we still want to get the same thing. We still want it to feel like the left elbow is sliding down towards your hip, and the right and the left. Did I say that right the first time? The right elbow is sliding down to the hip, and the left elbow is lifting up and away. It's not only do you get that stretch through the tricep, but you also get that lengthening through the left side of the torso at the same time that the arm lifts. If it feels like your shoulder blade is popping out of your back at any point, then loosen the angle of your shoulder or your elbow. Taking a hinge forwards if it feels good for your body. If it doesn't, if it's enough to be upright, then stay there. This time, repeat the mantra over and over in your mind. I believe in myself. I believe in myself.
As you say, I believe, breathe in and feel the rib cage spreading wider. As you say, in myself, breathe out and feel any disbelief disappearing. Taking 5 more breaths here. And when you're ready to come out, let the top arm come down there. Allow the back arm to come forward, shake it out if you need. Bring the legs in front, feet back to the floor, and then just roll your hips side to side. For our next posture, you're going to need 2 blocks that are roughly the same size, a bolster or a foam roller, and then maybe something to support your head if you have just a foam roller. You're going to create roughly a T shape with the blocks, and you can pick whatever height you wish. Supported fish pose. So taking the bottom of the bottom block underneath this bit here, so it's right between where your shoulder blades would squeeze together. So it's resting on your rib cage and not below the rib cage. And that's going to run up the centre of your back between the shoulder blades and the other block, or whatever you have available that you're going to place underneath your head to support your head so it doesn't tip too far back. Then taking the soles of the feet together and letting the knees fall out to the side. Adjusting your arm position then to reach wide. So you can create cactus arms, so bending the elbows if you don't have much space around you, or stretch your arms out. Feel where feels right for you. So just checking into the lower part of your spine and making it sure that it doesn't feel like it's overarching, which would mean that your pelvis is starting to tilt forwards and into an interior tilt. So it's best as possible a neutral position with the hips. So if you need a little bit more comfort for your head, place a cushion between yourself and whatever you're using. And then here, finding surrender. This is the pose where we can really let go. You're fully supported with everything, or by everything that's underneath you. It's in the space. If it feels uncomfortable for your hips to be into this position for too long, then you're welcome to straighten the legs out at any point. Or support the knees by placing something underneath them of an appropriate height. Or whatever you're using underneath your upper back. Just see if you can melt over the top of it. You want to try and let go of all muscular contraction. You can learn a lot about that feeling of surrender. By just letting ourselves go, letting ourselves fall. We open ourselves up to experiencing more things. And we put up a barrier. We can prevent those things from happening. We can prevent ourselves from feeding. Taking 5 more breaths here. And that's when you're ready to come out of the pose, bring your arms back down those sides. Draw the legs in together. And tuck the chin, lift your head, use your hands to push yourself up. And we're going to take a fold forwards. Now here, you can have your knees really bent. This isn't about the length in the hamstrings. It's about rounding through the spine. However, if you wish to, you can straighten the legs out more and find the hamstring stretch as well in the caterpillar. Now then you can choose to use a cushion between your chest and your thighs. You can place the cushion underneath your legs. So we've been in some strong back bends, so we need to give our spine a little bit of a chance to counteract that. Feeling the deep expansion of your breath. And noticing how free it roams through your body. Just taking a few more breaths. And gently rolling yourself up, laying yourself down onto your back. If you've got cushions underneath your knees, then you're welcome to leave them there. Remove anything behind you out of the way. And then settle into a comfortable position. Breathing fully in through the nose and then out through the nose. staying with every breath for its complete duration, from the very beginning to the very end. Visualizing the green glow surrounding your entire body. As you breathe in, feel how that little glow spreads. The colour gets brighter and brighter. As you breathe out, the light dims a touch and it returns back to its original form. Breathing in, the green light expands in size and brightens in colour. And exhale, the light dims a little as your body and the shape returns back. Keep visualizing this as you breathe. And then say to yourself, I accept the love that surrounds me. I am full of kindness I wish to give. I am loving to myself. I believe in myself. Whichever statement resonates with you the most, stay with it. Until you truly believe it. But for now, take one more really deep breath in. And then when you let it out, bring a smile to your face. And then slowly reawaken your body. However your body needs to move right now. Maybe beginning gently with the fingers, with the toes. And doing anything else that it needs. And then in your own time, in your own way, make yourself back up to seated.